Hey, this is Charlie from femaleorgasmsmastery.com. Today I'm gonna tell you how female ejaculation or female squirting happens. What actually happens inside the woman that makes her ejaculate. Now there's a lot of controversy. There's people who don't really believe that actually a woman can squirt, and if you're one of those, I totally respect people that say it's not true, that's pee. I can speak from myself. I know what I have seen and I have experienced myself. So I know I've seen a woman squirt and it's not pee what comes out of there. I've seen it myself. There's science as well that proves that, and that has the theory of what happens, and this is what I'm going to explain you today. I'm going to try to explain you as simple as possible without any funky names or any complicated things, how it works and what happens for a woman to ejaculate. Now, I'm going to also show some pictures around here so that you actually have an idea, or like a visual idea of what actually is there and how it happens. The first thing is to know that when a woman ejaculates, it doesn't come out of the urethra exactly, it comes out of two little ducts. They are right above the urethra. The urethra is right here, and they're like on the top part, on the left and on the right. All right, and these are called the Skins ducts. Okay, now they are connected to the Skins glands. The Skins glands are what's the equivalent for the female prostate. Yes, females do have a prostate which does not work, of course, like the man, but they have the same function, and they are responsible for female ejaculation. Now, these two glands, which are called the Skins glands, are located within the urethral sponge. The urethral sponge is an erectile tissue that surrounds the urethra. This tissue is also spongy, so it can actually be filled up with liquid. It's a spongy erectile tissue. It is surrounding the urethra. What happens? Why do females feel like they have to go to pee? Because this urethral sponge starts to fill up with the ejaculation liquid, starts to fill up, and start to compress or press on the urethra. So the female, what she experiences is the sensation that she needs to go to pee, because it's like the same sensation that she has when she has to go to pee. Now, one thing that I recommend to do, so that if you have that feeling, if you're a woman watching this and you have that sensation that I need to go to pee, go to the toilet before you actually try or have sex or try to do a squirting orgasm. Go to the toilet and pee. So your bladder is empty. So if you have that urge, you know it's not your pee, because it does not have time to actually fill up. So it's a good way to actually relax, because I'll get into that later, okay? But that's how it works, all right? So this urethral sponge is made out of, it has a lot of little tubes. It's like a net of tubes everywhere, little tiny tubes, and these tubes are the ones that actually fill it up with the ejaculation liquid. What happens is these tubes take the serum from the blood. The serum is the watery part of the blood. So they absorb this serum from the blood. They're connected, of course, to the blood vessels. And this serum goes to the Skins glands. And the Skins glands transform, or they are the ones responsible to create the prosthetic fluid. With the secretions they actually create, which is the PSA, the prosthetic specific antigen, same as men, PSA. In the Skins glands is where it's created, and with all this liquid they create the ejaculation fluid. How is this ejaculation fluid? This ejaculation fluid it's like water, basically. It has the same texture as water. It has no color, has no smell, absolutely no smell. People have said, well, it has a little bit of smell. It could be, depending on what you have eaten, maybe, but it has no smell. And it tastes a little bit like sugar. It has actually fructose. Actually, the Skins glands will create the PSA. All the secretions they create, it also contains fructose. So it has sort of like a sweet taste to it. Okay? Now, this is what the ejaculation fluid is. And this ejaculation fluid starts to fill up all this urethral sponge, and it starts to build up when a woman is stimulated sexually. Now, a woman does not need to be stimulated in the G-spot to actually start to fill up with this fluid. When she gets excited, this will start to happen, okay? Of course, when you stimulate the G-spot, this happens faster. And it happens, you have to stimulate the G-spot in order to give her a squirting orgasm or ejaculation, female ejaculation. You can also do it with the A-spot, which is the deepest part of the vagina. It depends on the woman, and here I'm not going to talk about stimulation because there's videos here I put there for that, okay? But this is how it happens, you know, when you stimulate the G-spot with the come here motion or with a Spider-Man technique, you do that, and what happens is that the woman needs to relax all her sphincters in order to ejaculate. There's no other way. I mean, and it's a bit contradictory because when someone has an orgasm, we always think about tensing up. If we have the sensation that we have to pee and we want to hold it, what do? We contract. We hold it. So we don't let it go out. What happens is if a woman needs to ejaculate, it doesn't ejaculate, actually the body reabsorbs all these fluids, all right? But for a woman to ejaculate, she needs to completely let go, which is probably the opposite of what she feels she has to do. And that's why the brain is so important here for female ejaculation. If you're a woman that cannot ejaculate, it's probably most your mental part or your fear to make a big mess than anything else. So, because all women can ejaculate, all women, unless you have some problem, some actual physical problem in your body that or some issue in your sexual areas and there's something wrong there. If you're a healthy woman with everything and with no issues there, you can ejaculate. We all men can ejaculate because we have the system for ejaculation. Females all have this system. They all have these conducts, these ducts, the Skins Glands. They all have this. We all have the same. Different sizes, different shapes, but we all have the same. So, of course, you're capable. The only thing is that you need to know what you have to do, of course, in terms of stimulation, and you need to know what to do here because you need to totally relax and let it go. All right? So, I wanted to make this. This is as simple as it gets. It can be complicated, and there's a lot of science to it. I recommend there's a book. I'm going to put it down in the description. A link to a book which talks about female ejaculation, and it's a great read if you don't believe in this or if you want more detailed information about this. Make sure you get that book and read it because it's fantastic and it talks about this in a much more detailed way. Okay. I'll do that in my course as well, in my sex course. I'll do a more detailed explanation, but I wanted to make sure that you get that and that you have an idea of what happens really. Okay, because this is what happens. And female ejaculation does exist. You see, one thing that happens is that men and women, when we are in the mother's womb and we start to be sort of like created, let's say, until the X amount of weeks, we actually have the same sexual organ. I mean, it's a chromosome that says if you're a man or woman, right? Okay, XY, all right. But at the beginning, we're all the same, and that gland that's there, which is a gland actually that then becomes the clitoris or the penis head. That gland there that develops. It can develop to a woman or to a man, but at the end, the clitoris is not just what you see, that little thing. There's another video here of what the clitoris looks like. The clitoris is a lot bigger, and it goes inside because it's sort of like a penis towards the inside. So really, man and woman, we come from sort of like the same place. It's just that the information, the genetic information, creates you a woman or a man, but really, the penis and the clitoris and the female sexuality, they're not very different, really, in terms of where they come from and some of the things we actually have. So for a woman to have a prostate, it's really not that crazy. It actually could happen. And of course, not in the same shape that we have it as men, but it's a different way it works. And it's a bit more complicated for a woman to ejaculate than for men. It works differently, but it does exist. So I just want to make that across. It does exist. I hope you enjoyed this video, that it serves you and it gives you a bit more light into what female ejaculation is. Make sure you visit my website right here for more information and more courses about how to make a woman squirt. And make sure you subscribe to my channel to see videos like this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.